Ghost on a Boxing. This weekend seems to be dominated by heavyweight action because you've got on the undercard of the Tyson Fury and Ngannou thing, you've got a string of heavyweight fights. There's another one I've done a video for, which is very, very intriguing. Justice Hooney versus Andrew Tabiti. But that one is on a Mexican card, which is being shown on DAZN. And it looks to me like a really one of those really good hidden away Mexican cards that DAZN show. There's only 4 fights on it, but if you look at the matchups, they seem to be pretty close, some good matchups there. There's some action to be had, and especially applies to the headline act, which is O'Shaquie Foster making the first defence of his WBC super-featherweight title against Eduardo Rocky Hernandez. Now, I smell an upset here, because let's go through the fighters one by one. O'Shaquie Foster, he won the WBC, the vacant WBC super featherweight title against Ray Vargas, outpointed him. I think, if I'm doing this off memory, but I think it was like a 117, 111, 116, 112. The cards were in that area. There might have been one that was a bit wider. But there's no doubt that O'Shaquie Foster won it. But he was given, as you would expect. Ray Vargas actually was undefeated at the time. He was 36-0. But he gave O'Shaquie a very, very tough fight. Mexican kid, 32 years old, Vargas. But Foster, who was being groomed for stardom, he came in with, I think it was a 19-2 record. He had 2 losses. The 2 losses are on points, and they're earlier on in his career, much earlier on. One was in 2016 and one was in 2015. If you've watched this channel before, you'll know that I don't really care about defeat so long as you're learning from them. I'm not into the cult of the zero. No, I think O'Shaquie Foster was probably a better fighter for those 2 defeats, because he looked at his mistakes, and they were decent guys who had decent records, so no shame. And then he went on a great long winning streak, which resulted in the victory over Vargas. And yeah, I mean, he is a champ who's probably come up the hard way. He had some setbacks. He's 30 now, O'Shaquie Foster, and it was a good performance against Vargas. He definitely won the fight, was made to work, but he was a deserved winner. Now, his record is 20 wins, 11 KOs. He doesn't have a great deal of one-punch power, but what he does have is lots of good skills, some nice slick skills, good footwork, moves well. He's about 5'8", 5'9", which is good for a super feather, so he's got the dimensions. 30 years old, so you would say he's probably in his prime. And it's all good. It all looks good on the surface of it. And you would expect those skills, those slick skills, to give anyone, any other super featherweight in the world, a few problems, as he did with Ray Vargas, who himself is a very good fighter. But Eduardo Hernandez, who I've seen before, is a 25-year-old Mexican. And he's got 34 wins with 31 KOs, 1 defeat, which was a 1-round knockout to Roger Gutierrez, which was back in 2019. If you saw that fight, he just got chinned in the first round. He came out banging, very, very cavalier, and just got chinned. It was like kill or be killed. It was not quite kamikaze, but if you're going to fight like that, if you're going to fight it, just throw caution to the wind. There's always the chance that your aggression and your power will work against you, because it'll leave you wide open. And Roger Gutierrez just chinned him in a round. But since then, he's gone on a tremendous run. I mean, like I say, Hernandez, 34 wins, 31 by KO. He's fought once, a 3rd round KO of Hector Garcia. That was back in July, so he's had a bit of recent action. And prior to that, he was knocking out people like Jorge Castaneda, went in 1 round. And he's tearing the place up. I mean, not all of the quality, not all of the opposition was great. I mean, there were a couple of journeymen thrown in there, but you take Jorge Mata Corella, he got done in 5 rounds. So the guy can bang, and he is a ferocious competitor. He is the type of guy. He's, like I say, he's only 25, so he's got that youthful vigour about him. Charge forward, throw everything. I've got something for you. Here it comes. Goes either in straight lines or bobs and weaves, and just wants to put it on you with both fists, body, head to body. A real handful who can hit very, very hard indeed. And Foster is going to have to. This is a 12-round fight, of course. It's a world title fight. Foster is going to have to show those slick skills early on when Hernandez is fresh. He's got to use all those slick skills for every second of each round, because otherwise, if there's a lapse of concentration, Hernandez can hit him and he might stay hit. Now, I see Hernandez coming out and, like I say, just storming forward and really trying to take the initiative and put the heat on Foster to ruffle him, to make sure he's not getting set, he's not getting his jab going, he's not controlling the range. I think Hernandez, from the word go, that's what he's got to do. The only issue here is, of course, that Hernandez has not been many rounds. Most of his knockouts are first, second, third rounds. So can he keep it up for 12 rounds? I think it's unlikely he could go the distance. I'm not exactly sure how many rounds he's gone. What's the maximum amount of rounds he's gone? I think it's 6. I don't think he's ever been beyond the 6th round. I could be wrong about that, but I'd have to check over on BoxRec. But I think 6 rounds is the most he's ever done. So this is a real test for him, but I still think, I don't think he can sit back and give the early rounds away to Foster. I think if he lets Foster start boxing because he's scared about going to the full 36 minutes, Foster's going to get his rhythm going. He's going to find the range, and he's just going to use his skills to totally contain Hernandez. Hernandez has got to gamble and get in early and start and win a lot of those early rounds. Really take some of the sting out of Foster, because pressure. They talk about you've got to sort of draw the sting out of somebody. If you let them fight, if you let an opponent fight at his or her own pace, they can fight 15, 20 rounds because they're doing it at their pace. What Hernandez has got to do is, I'm presuming he's going to be fighting fit. He's going to be brilliantly conditioned. He's got to take those early rounds, drain some of Foster's gas tank, and then hope that this is Hernandez, that he can continue with that type of heat for the rest of the fight. Because if Foster gets his second win and starts boxing and starts controlling the range, I think Hernandez himself in the second half of the fight might run out of gas, and it possibly could get stopped. Now, I think that's very feasible. I think a lot of people are picking Oshaki Foster to win this fight by stoppage, in about 8 rounds. But I think it's equally possible that Hernandez, with that explosive, youthful power, that energy that a lot of young fighters have. Also, bear in mind that most of his fights have been in Mexico, where there are so many decent sort of B-level fighters that are on the scene, on the circuit, the domestic circuit. Very good fighters, but sometimes you get a Mexican guy who comes, especially in Britain. We've had this repeatedly in Britain, where we got fighters coming over, Mexican fighters, and we've never heard of them, and they've got defeats on their record, and suddenly they look like the second coming of Salvador Sanchez. Maybe not in terms of skill, but certainly in terms of fortitude and effort. So I think Hernandez will give O'Neill a lot of problems, and in fact, I am tempted to pick him by stoppage. For some reason, I've got the 8th round in my head, and I can see either Hernandez running out of gas and Foster stopping him. And Foster ain't a big hitter, but I just think it's a case of, I worry a lot about Hernandez not having done many rounds, whereas Oshaki Foster has. Or I see Hernandez, probably knackered, but at the same time able to overcome Foster with his power. And again, I would say middle rounds, the middle third, the middle round, sort of 5, 6, 7, 8, one of those rounds. Who do I pick? This is a real difficult one to pick. This could be an upset. I mean, I'm quite serious. It could be an upset. And you know what? What the hell? To be honest with you, my head says Foster, but my heart says Hernandez. So you can toss a coin. You can toss a coin. Um, with Foster to retain. Because I just, again, I can't get past this idea that Hernandez has not had that many rounds. But I'll tell you what, an upset with Hernandez knocking out Foster would not surprise me remotely. Would not surprise me. So that's my pick. I'll go for Foster to retain by a late stoppage, last third of the fight. Tell me what you think. Give your opinions. Leave your comments below. Am I right? Am I wrong? Difficult one to pick. But don't forget, this is on that Mexican card. It's on DAZN. It's a matchroom promotion. And it'll be on, I suppose it'll be on the early hours of Sunday morning. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know who you're picking. Thanks for your time as always. Please hit the subscribe button if you're new. Hit the like button and spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. I always appreciate your time and like looking at your comments, and I'll answer them. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.